The Momentum Shift: How Daily Progress Creates a Remarkable Life. Written and published by Rising Audiobook. Introduction. Imagine if your life could be completely different a year from today, not because of one extraordinary breakthrough, but because of one small decision repeated every single day. Most people believe success belongs to the lucky, the gifted, or the fearless. But the truth is far simpler. Remarkable lives are rarely built overnight. They are built quietly, one choice, one habit, and one action at a time. This is the power of momentum. It begins so small that it's almost invisible, yet over time it becomes an unstoppable force. The challenge is that most people give up before momentum has a chance to work. They chase motivation, wait for perfect conditions, or expect immediate results. Meanwhile, those who commit to becoming just 1% better every single day steadily transform their health, careers, finances, relationships, and confidence. Throughout this audiobook, you'll discover why tiny improvements consistently outperform dramatic bursts of effort, how to overcome stagnation, build habits that last, stay consistent when motivation disappears, and create a mindset that keeps you moving forward regardless of obstacles. You'll learn practical strategies that anyone can apply, no matter where they're starting from. By the end, you'll realize that remarkable success isn't reserved for a select few. It's the natural outcome of ordinary actions repeated with extraordinary consistency. So take the first step today, embrace the momentum shift, and remember, becoming 1% better. Every single day isn't just a goal, it's the path to a remarkable life. Let's begin. Chapter 1. The Power of Momentum: Why Small Steps Change Everything. Have you ever wondered why some people seem to make continuous progress, while others remain stuck, even though they possess similar intelligence, education, or opportunities? The answer often isn't talent, luck, or perfect timing. It's momentum. Momentum is one of the most powerful forces in life because it grows with movement. It doesn't require you to begin with extraordinary abilities or massive resources. It simply asks you to take the first step. Once you begin moving consistently, every action makes the next action a little easier. Progress starts creating confidence. Confidence encourages more action, and before long, you've built a cycle of continuous improvement. Unfortunately, most people misunderstand how success works. They believe they need to feel motivated before taking action. They wait for the perfect moment, the ideal plan, or a sudden burst of inspiration. Days become weeks, weeks become months, and eventually they realize that nothing has changed except the calendar. The reality is exactly the opposite. Action creates motivation, not the other way around. Think about the last time you completed an important task that you had been postponing. Before you started, the task probably felt difficult and overwhelming, but once you spent just a few minutes working on it, your resistance began to disappear. You became more engaged, more focused, and often finished far more than you originally intended. That is momentum in action. Momentum is like pushing a heavy wheel. The first push demands the greatest effort. It barely moves, and you may wonder whether it's worth continuing. The second push feels slightly easier. The third push creates visible movement. Soon, the wheel begins turning on its own, requiring much less effort to keep rolling. Your personal growth follows the same principle. This is why small steps matter far more than dramatic actions taken once in a while. Many people make the mistake of trying to transform their entire lives overnight. They promise themselves they'll exercise 2 hours every day, read 3 books a week, completely change their diet, launch a business, and wake up before sunrise, all at once. For a few days, excitement keeps them going. Then reality arrives. The routine becomes exhausting, motivation fades, and everything comes to a stop. Real progress doesn't demand perfection, it demands consistency. A single page read today may not seem impressive. A 10-minute walk may appear insignificant. Saving a small amount of money might feel meaningless. Practicing a skill for 20 minutes can seem too little to matter. But momentum doesn't judge individual actions. It rewards repeated actions. Every small decision sends a message to your brain about the kind of person you're becoming. Every completed workout reinforces the identity of someone who values health. Every focused study session strengthens the identity of a lifelong learner. Every dollar saved strengthens the identity of a disciplined investor. These identities are built gradually, and once they become part of who you are, your actions begin to feel natural rather than forced. One of the greatest advantages of momentum is that it reduces resistance. The more frequently you perform a positive behavior, the less mental energy it requires. What once felt difficult eventually becomes automatic. Successful people often appear disciplined, but much of what they do is simply routine. Their habits carry them forward, even on days when motivation is absent. Momentum also changes the way you see yourself. Every small promise you keep builds self-trust. You begin believing that you are someone who follows through. That belief becomes incredibly powerful because confidence is earned through evidence, not wishful thinking. Each completed action becomes another piece of evidence that you are capable of growth. It's equally important to understand that momentum works in both directions. Positive habits create positive momentum, while negative habits create negative momentum. Skipping one workout may seem harmless, delaying one important task may feel insignificant, or wasting one evening scrolling endlessly may appear unimportant. Yet, repeated enough times, these small choices create patterns that slowly shape your future. The direction of your life is rarely determined by one major decision. More often, it is determined by hundreds of ordinary decisions made every single day. As you continue through this audiobook, remember one simple truth. You don't need to become extraordinary today. You don't need to solve every problem or achieve every goal immediately. Your only responsibility is to keep moving forward. Take one meaningful step, then take another tomorrow. Protect your progress, no matter how small it seems. Over time, those seemingly insignificant actions will compound into remarkable results. Momentum doesn't ask where you started. It only asks whether you're willing to keep moving, and once you do, you'll discover that the smallest steps often lead to the greatest transformations. Chapter 2. Escaping the cycle of stagnation. If momentum is the force that moves life forward, then stagnation is the invisible force that quietly holds it back. The frightening thing about stagnation is that it rarely announces itself. It doesn't arrive with dramatic failure or obvious defeat. Instead, it slips into your life through small compromises. You tell yourself you'll start tomorrow. You delay one important task. You skip one workout. You spend another evening scrolling through social media instead of learning something new. None of these choices seem significant on their own, but together they create a pattern. Before long, days turn into months, and you find yourself living the same year over and over again. Most people don't stay stuck because they lack intelligence or opportunity. They stay stuck because they've unknowingly built habits that reinforce inaction. The human brain loves familiarity. Even when your current situation is frustrating, your mind often prefers the comfort of the known over the uncertainty of change. This is why people remain in unfulfilling jobs, postpone pursuing their dreams, or continue unhealthy routines despite knowing the consequences. Comfort feels safe, but it often becomes the greatest obstacle to growth. Imagine standing on an airport moving walkway that's carrying you backward. If you stand still, you slowly drift farther from your destination. To make progress, you must keep walking. Life works in much the same way. The world keeps changing. Technology evolves. Industries transform. Skills become outdated. If you stop growing, you're not standing still. You are gradually falling behind. One of the biggest reasons people remain stagnant is perfectionism. Many believe they need the perfect plan before taking action. They wait until they know everything, have enough money, possess enough confidence, or feel completely prepared. Unfortunately, perfection never arrives. Successful people understand that clarity comes through action, not before it. Think about learning to ride a bicycle. No amount of reading can teach you balance. You only learn by getting on the bike, wobbling, falling, adjusting, and trying again. Every mistake teaches your brain something that no instruction manual ever could. Progress always belongs to those who are willing to move before they feel ready. Another hidden trap is the belief that one failure defines the future. Perhaps you've tried to lose weight before and gave up. Maybe you've attempted to start a business, learn a language, or save money without lasting success. These experiences often convince people that they simply aren't capable. But failure is information, not identity. Every setback reveals what didn't work. It points you toward a better strategy. The only true failure is allowing one disappointment to convince you to stop trying altogether. Your daily environment also plays a much larger role than most people realize. Your surroundings quietly shape your decisions every day. If unhealthy food is always within reach, you'll likely eat it. If your phone constantly demands your attention, deep focus becomes difficult. If you spend time with people who constantly complain or avoid responsibility, their mindset slowly influences your own. Growth becomes easier when your environment supports it. Sometimes the simplest changes produce the greatest results. Place a book on your bedside table instead of your phone. Prepare your workout clothes the night before. Keep healthy snacks visible. Create a dedicated workspace free from distractions. These small adjustments reduce resistance and make positive choices easier to repeat. Another powerful reason people remain stagnant is that they focus too much on distant goals instead of immediate actions. Imagine standing at the base of a mountain. Looking at the summit can feel overwhelming. You may wonder whether you'll ever make it, but experienced climbers don't stare at the peak every minute. They focus on the next safe step, then the next, and then another. Eventually, without realizing it, they reach heights that once seemed impossible. The same principle applies to every meaningful goal. Instead of asking, "How will I become successful?" ask, "What is the next action I can complete today?" Small actions reduce fear because they are manageable. One phone call, one page written, one workout completed, one lesson studied, $1 saved. Momentum begins with actions so small that excuses become difficult to justify. It's also important to recognize the stories you tell yourself. Many people unknowingly repeat limiting beliefs every day. I'm too old. I'm too young. I'm not talented enough. I don't have enough time. I've already missed my chance. These thoughts feel true because they've been repeated so often, but they are rarely facts. They are interpretations shaped by past experiences, fear, or comparison with others. Every time you challenge one of these beliefs with action, you weaken its influence. Confidence doesn't appear before action. It grows because of action. Every time you complete something you once thought was difficult, your mind updates its belief about what's possible. Over time, those small victories reshape your identity. One helpful practice is to celebrate progress rather than perfection. Too many people ignore their achievements because they haven't yet reached the final destination. They lose 10 pounds but focus on the 20 still remaining. They save their first $1,000 but complain about not having 10,000. They read 10 books but criticize themselves for not reading more. Progress deserves recognition because it fuels momentum. Every small victory reminds your brain that your efforts are working. It creates positive emotion, strengthens commitment, and makes it more likely that you'll continue tomorrow. Escaping stagnation doesn't require dramatic change. It requires honest awareness. Look closely at your daily choices. Notice the habits that quietly keep you trapped. Replace excuses with action, perfection with progress, and fear with curiosity. Remember, the goal isn't to transform your entire life in one day. The goal is to refuse to stay where you are. The moment you take one purposeful step forward, no matter how small, stagnation begins to lose its grip. And with every step that follows, you move farther away from the life you settled for and closer to the remarkable life you're capable of creating. Chapter 3. The 1% Rule. winning through daily improvement. Imagine two people standing at the same starting line. They have similar education, similar resources, and similar dreams. One person decides to improve by just 1% every single day. The other believes small improvements aren't worth the effort and waits for the perfect opportunity to make a big move. At first, there is almost no visible difference between them. After a week, they still seem equal. After a month, the gap is barely noticeable. But after a year, their lives look completely different. This is the quiet power of the 1% rule. The greatest transformations in life rarely happen because of one extraordinary decision. They happen because of hundreds of ordinary decisions made consistently over time. Every day offers an opportunity to become a little wiser, a little healthier, a little stronger, and a little more disciplined than you were yesterday. 1% may seem insignificant, but when repeated consistently, it becomes extraordinary. Think of improvement as planting seeds. When you place a seed in the soil, nothing remarkable happens overnight. You water it, protect it, and trust the process. For days or even weeks, there may be no visible sign of growth. Yet beneath the surface, roots are quietly developing. Eventually, the plant breaks through the ground, and from that moment, everyone notices the growth. What they don't see is the invisible work that made it possible. Your personal growth follows the same pattern. Many people abandon their goals because they expect immediate rewards. They begin exercising for a week and expect dramatic physical changes. They start reading books for a month and expect to become experts. They save money for a few weeks and become discouraged because the amount seems too small. They confuse slow progress with no progress. But progress is often invisible before it becomes undeniable. Every meaningful skill in life develops through repetition. A musician doesn't master an instrument after one lesson. A writer doesn't produce a best-selling book after writing one page. A successful entrepreneur doesn't build a thriving business in a single weekend. Excellence is simply the result of showing up again and again, improving one small piece at a time. Consider someone who decides to spend just 30 minutes every day learning a valuable skill like coding, public speaking, graphic design, or investing. 30 minutes may not seem impressive. Friends may not even notice the effort. But after 1 month, that person has invested around 15 hours of focused learning. After 1 year, they've accumulated more than 180 hours of practice. After 2 years, they possess knowledge and experience that can completely transform their career, increase their income, and open doors that once seemed impossible. The remarkable outcome wasn't created by one extraordinary day. It was created by ordinary days repeated consistently. This principle applies to every area of life. A single healthy meal won't transform your body. One workout won't build lasting strength. Reading one chapter won't make you an expert. Saving a small amount of money won't create financial freedom. But repeat these actions hundreds of times, and they reshape your future. This is why consistency always defeats intensity. Many people begin with enormous enthusiasm. They exercise for 3 hours, work until midnight, study without breaks, or attempt to change every habit at once. Their excitement feels productive, but it's often unsustainable. Within days or weeks, exhaustion replaces motivation, and the entire routine collapses. A better strategy is to make improvement so manageable that you can repeat it every day. Read 10 pages instead of trying to finish an entire book. Walk for 20 minutes instead of forcing yourself into an exhausting workout. Save a small percentage of every paycheck instead of waiting until you have extra money. Write 1 page instead of promising yourself 10. Small actions remove the fear of getting started, and once you begin, momentum often carries you further than expected. The 1% rule also changes the way you measure success. Most people measure success by outcomes, promotions, wealth, awards, or recognition. Those achievements are meaningful, but they are delayed results. If you judge yourself only by outcomes, you'll often become discouraged because they take time to appear. Instead, measure success by your daily improvements. Ask yourself simple questions. Did I learn something new today? Did I make one healthier choice? Did I keep a promise to myself? Did I improve one important skill? If the answer is yes, then you're already succeeding, even if the world hasn't noticed yet. Another important lesson is to stop comparing your Chapter 1 to someone else's Chapter 20. Social media often shows polished results while hiding years of quiet effort. Behind every successful athlete are thousands of unseen training sessions. Behind every respected leader are years of difficult decisions and continuous learning. Behind every thriving business are countless small improvements that customers never notice. Focus on your own progress. The only meaningful comparison is between the person you were yesterday and the person you are becoming today. Patience is essential because compounding rewards those who remain committed. Imagine filling a large jar with a single coin every day. At first, the jar looks almost empty. It may seem as though your effort doesn't matter. But eventually, the coins begin to accumulate. What once appeared insignificant becomes substantial. Improvement works the same way. Each small action adds another layer to your knowledge, confidence, discipline, and character. There will be days when you don't feel motivated. There will be moments when progress seems painfully slow. On those days, remember that missing spectacular success is far less dangerous than abandoning small progress altogether. Never underestimate the value of one more page read, one more workout completed, one more kind conversation, one more smart financial decision, or one more hour spent developing your future. A remarkable life is not built in dramatic moments. It is built in ordinary moments that most people overlook. As you move forward, carry this principle with you. Don't aim to become a completely different person overnight. Simply become 1% better every single day. Those tiny improvements will quietly compound, your confidence will grow, your habits will strengthen, and one day you'll look back in amazement. Not because your life changed all at once, but because you never stopped improving. Chapter 4. Building habits that create unstoppable momentum. If momentum is the engine of progress, then habits are the fuel that keeps it running. Many people believe successful individuals possess extraordinary willpower. They imagine that high achievers wake up every morning overflowing with motivation, eager to tackle difficult tasks. The truth is far less glamorous and far more encouraging. Successful people don't rely on motivation nearly as much as they rely on habits. A habit is simply a behavior repeated so often that it becomes automatic. It no longer requires constant debate or emotional energy. You don't spend 10 minutes deciding whether to brush your teeth each morning. You simply do it because it has become part of who you are. Imagine if exercising, reading, saving money, or working on your biggest goal felt just as natural. That's the true power of habits. Willpower is like a smartphone battery. Every decision you make throughout the day drains it a little, from choosing what to wear and what to eat to responding to emails and solving problems. Your mental energy slowly decreases. By the evening, many people feel too exhausted to make wise decisions. That's why relying on willpower alone is a risky strategy. Habits solve this problem by reducing the number of decisions you need to make. Instead of asking yourself every morning whether you should exercise, your habit answers the question for you. Instead of debating whether to read a book or watch another hour of television, your routine quietly guides your actions. Less decision-making means more energy for meaningful work. Think about a professional athlete preparing for a competition. They don't wake up each day wondering if they feel inspired enough to train. Their alarm rings, they get dressed, and they begin. The routine has become stronger than their temporary emotions. Some training sessions feel exciting, others feel difficult. But because the habit already exists, progress continues regardless of mood. Your own life can operate the same way. One of the simplest ways to build lasting habits is to start much smaller than your ambition. This advice often surprises people. They believe that bigger goals require bigger actions. In reality, bigger goals require greater consistency, and consistency is easier when the starting point feels almost effortless. If your goal is to read more, begin with 5 or 10 pages a day instead of promising to finish a book every week. If your goal is to become healthier, start with a 15-minute walk instead of committing to exhausting workouts that leave you discouraged. If your goal is to write a book, begin by writing a single page every day. Small habits remove resistance. They eliminate the excuse that you don't have enough time or enough energy. More importantly, they help you establish the identity of someone who consistently shows up. Another effective strategy is called habit stacking. Instead of creating an entirely new routine, attach a new habit to one that already exists. After brushing your teeth, spend 5 minutes stretching. After your morning coffee, read 10 pages of a personal development book. After dinner, review your financial goals for 10 minutes. After arriving at work, spend the first 30 minutes on your most important project before checking emails. Because the first habit is already automatic, the second one becomes much easier to remember and repeat. Your environment also has tremendous influence over your habits. Most people believe self-control is the key to success. While self-control is valuable, smart design often works even better. If unhealthy snacks are sitting on the kitchen counter, resisting temptation becomes a daily battle. If your phone constantly lights up with notifications while you're trying to work, maintaining focus becomes nearly impossible. If your television remote is always within reach but your books remain hidden on a shelf, entertainment will usually win. Instead of depending on discipline every moment, redesign your surroundings. Keep healthy food visible. Place books where you'll naturally see them. Prepare your workout clothes the night before. Create a clean workspace that encourages concentration. Silence unnecessary notifications during focused work sessions. The easier you make good habits, the more likely you'll repeat them. Equally important is making bad habits more difficult. If you want to reduce social media, remove distracting apps from your home screen or set time limits. If you're trying to save money, avoid browsing online stores out of boredom. If late-night television keeps you awake, leave the remote in another room and keep a book beside your bed instead. Small obstacles can interrupt negative habits, just as small conveniences strengthen positive ones. Another important lesson is to expect imperfect days. Many people destroy months of progress because they believe one mistake means they've failed. They miss one workout and skip the entire week. They eat one unhealthy meal and abandon their nutrition plan. They miss one day of studying and convince themselves they'll never catch up. This all-or-nothing thinking is one of the greatest enemies of momentum. The goal isn't perfection. The goal is recovery. Everyone has difficult days. Illness, travel, unexpected responsibilities, and emotional challenges are part of life. What separates successful people is not that they never fall behind, it's that they return quickly. A missed habit is an event. Repeated missed habits become a lifestyle. Whenever you stumble, avoid missing twice. If you skip today's workout, make tomorrow non-negotiable. If you miss one morning of reading, return that evening. Fast recovery protects momentum far better than perfect consistency ever could. It's also helpful to track your habits. Whether you use a notebook, calendar, or digital app, marking each completed day creates visible proof of your commitment. Watching a chain of successful days grow becomes motivating in itself. Soon, you won't want to break the streak you've worked hard to build. But remember, the purpose of tracking isn't to achieve perfection, it's to increase awareness. What gets measured often gets improved. Perhaps the most powerful effect of habits is how they shape your identity. Every action casts a vote for the type of person you believe you are. Each workout says, "I am someone who values my health." Each page you read says, "I am someone who continues learning." Each dollar you save says, "I am someone who prepares for the future." Each promise you keep to yourself strengthens the belief that you are reliable, disciplined, and capable. Over time, your habits stop feeling like obligations because they become expressions of who you are. That is when momentum becomes truly unstoppable. Remember, remarkable lives are not built through occasional moments of brilliance. They are built through ordinary routines practiced with extraordinary consistency. You don't need perfect motivation. You don't need endless willpower. You need habits that quietly move you forward, one day at a time. Build those habits patiently. Protect them fiercely. Repeat them faithfully. Because once the right habits take root, momentum is no longer something you chase. It becomes the force that carries you toward the remarkable life you've always imagined. Chapter 5. Mastering Consistency over Motivation. Have you ever felt unstoppable after watching an inspiring video, reading a motivational book, or attending a powerful seminar? You promise yourself that this time will be different. You wake up early, exercise, work on your goals, and feel convinced that you've finally changed. Then, a few days later, reality returns. The alarm rings, but you're tired. Work becomes stressful. Unexpected problems appear. Your enthusiasm fades, and suddenly the habits that felt exciting begin to feel like a burden. Before long, you're back where you started, wondering why motivation never lasts. The answer is simple. Motivation is an emotion. Consistency is a decision. And decisions, when repeated long enough, shape your destiny. One of the biggest myths about success is that highly accomplished people are always motivated. We imagine entrepreneurs waking up every morning overflowing with excitement, athletes eager for every training session, or best-selling authors thrilled to write every single day. The truth is much more practical. They experience boredom, they feel tired, they become discouraged, they face self-doubt. The difference is that they continue anyway. They understand something most people never fully accept. Motivation is temporary, but consistency creates permanent change. Think about brushing your teeth. You probably don't wake up every morning filled with excitement to do it. You simply do it because it's part of your routine. You understand its importance, so you don't negotiate with yourself. Imagine if your most important goals became just as automatic. Instead of asking whether you feel like exercising, you simply exercise. Instead of wondering whether you're inspired to study, you open the book. Instead of waiting for creativity before writing, you begin writing. The question changes from, do I feel motivated, to, what does the person I want to become do today? That single shift changes everything. Consistency is powerful because it removes emotions from the equation. Your feelings change every day. Your goals should not. There will always be reasons to postpone meaningful work. You'll be too busy, too tired, too stressed, too distracted. Or you'll convince yourself that tomorrow will be a better day. But tomorrow has a strange habit of becoming another tomorrow. The people who accomplish remarkable things understand that success isn't built on exceptional days. It's built on ordinary days when nobody is watching. Consider someone learning a new language. One person studies only when they feel inspired. Some weeks they practice for hours, but then they stop completely for several days because life becomes busy or motivation disappears. Another person studies for just 20 minutes every single day. Sometimes they feel energetic, sometimes they don't, but they continue regardless of mood. After 1 year, who do you think speaks the language more fluently? Almost always, it's the person who practiced consistently. The same principle applies to fitness, investing, writing, business, relationships, and every meaningful area of life. Consistency beats intensity because consistency compounds. Imagine trying to fill a bucket with water. Pouring in a huge amount once every few weeks won't keep the bucket full because much of the water evaporates or leaks away. Adding a steady amount every day keeps the bucket growing until it eventually overflows. Your knowledge works this way. Your skills work this way. Your confidence works this way. Even your relationships work this way. Small, repeated actions create results that occasional bursts of effort never can. One reason people struggle with consistency is that they focus too much on outcomes instead of the process. Suppose your goal is to lose 20 pounds. If you weigh yourself every morning expecting dramatic changes, you'll likely become frustrated. Some days the number barely moves. Some days it even increases. If your happiness depends entirely on the scale, your motivation will disappear long before your transformation arrives. Instead, successful people learn to enjoy the process itself. They celebrate completing today's workout. They appreciate preparing a healthy meal. They feel proud of keeping promises to themselves. The process becomes the reward. Ironically, when you stop obsessing over results and focus on daily actions, the results usually arrive much faster. Another secret to consistency is lowering the barrier to starting. Many goals fail because the starting point feels overwhelming. If you tell yourself that you must study for 4 hours, you'll often procrastinate. If you commit to studying for just 10 minutes, getting started feels much easier. The interesting thing is that once you've begun, you'll often continue far beyond your original commitment. Starting is usually the hardest part. Momentum takes care of the rest. Another helpful strategy is to create non-negotiable standards. These are simple promises you make to yourself regardless of circumstances. For example, I will read at least 10 pages every day. I will exercise for 20 minutes, even if I don't feel like it. I will save a portion of every paycheck. I will spend 30 minutes developing my most valuable skill. Notice that these standards don't depend on emotions, they depend on commitment. When standards replace wishes, progress becomes far more predictable. Accountability can also strengthen consistency. When you're responsible only to yourself, it's easy to make excuses. But when someone else expects you to show up, you're more likely to follow through. This accountability can come from a workout partner, a mentor, a coach, a mastermind group, or even a simple habit tracker that reminds you of your commitments. The goal isn't to depend on others forever. The goal is to build enough discipline that your own word becomes trustworthy. That's one of the greatest rewards of consistency. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, your self-respect grows. You begin believing that you're someone who follows through. Confidence isn't built by positive thinking alone. It's built by consistent evidence. Every completed workout, every chapter read, every dollar saved, every difficult conversation handled, every promise honored. These become proof that you are capable of growth. Over time, this self-belief becomes one of your greatest strengths. Of course, consistency doesn't mean perfection. Life will interrupt your plans. You'll get sick. You'll travel. Unexpected emergencies will arise. Some days you'll miss your routine. That's completely normal. The danger isn't missing once. The danger is allowing one missed day to become a missed week, a missed month, or a missed year. Think of a pilot flying across the ocean. The airplane constantly adjusts its course because of wind and weather. It's rarely perfectly on course. Yet by making small corrections, it still reaches its destination. Your life works the same way. You don't need perfect consistency. You need consistent correction. Whenever you drift away from your habits, gently return. No guilt, no self-criticism. Just return. Every return strengthens your resilience. Finally, remember that consistency is not about doing extraordinary things every day. It's about doing ordinary things extraordinarily well. Reading one chapter, making one healthy choice, writing one page, learning one lesson, saving one small amount, practicing one valuable skill. These actions may seem insignificant today, but they are quietly building the future version of you. Years from now, people may call your success remarkable. They may assume you were naturally gifted or unusually lucky. What they won't see are the thousands of ordinary moments when you chose discipline over excuses, progress over perfection, and consistency over temporary motivation. That is the true secret behind every remarkable life. Motivation may help you begin the journey, but consistency is what carries you across the finish line. So stop waiting to feel inspired. Show up anyway. Take the next step anyway. Keep your promises anyway. Because every day you choose consistency, you're proving to yourself that success isn't something you hope for, it's something you build, one deliberate action at a time. Chapter 6. Turning setbacks into stepping stones. Every remarkable journey includes obstacles. No one builds a successful business without making costly mistakes. No athlete reaches the top without losing competitions. No author writes a great book without producing weak first drafts. No investor avoids every bad decision. Yet many people believe that if they encounter failure, it must mean they are on the wrong path. Nothing could be further from the truth. Failure is not the opposite of success. More often, it is part of the process that leads to success. The difference between people who achieve extraordinary results and those who remain stuck is rarely the number of setbacks they experience. The real difference lies in how they respond to them. One person views failure as proof that they are incapable. Another views it as valuable feedback. One quits, the other adjusts. Over time, those different responses create completely different lives. Imagine learning to walk as a child. You probably fell hundreds of times before taking your first confident steps. Yet no one looked at a toddler falling and concluded walking just isn't for them. Falling was expected. It was part of learning. Somehow, as adults, we forget this lesson. We expect ourselves to succeed immediately. We believe every mistake is evidence that we lack talent or intelligence. But growth has never worked that way. Every new challenge requires practice, correction, and patience. One of the greatest obstacles after experiencing a setback is emotional thinking. You fail an exam and begin believing you're not smart enough. You lose a client and assume you'll never succeed in business. You miss a week of exercise and convince yourself that all your progress has disappeared. These emotional conclusions are dangerous because they transform temporary events into permanent identities. Remember this simple truth. You are not your last mistake. A setback describes something that happened. It does not define who you are. Instead of asking, "Why did this happen to me?" ask a better question. What is this experience trying to teach me? That single shift changes failure from an enemy into a teacher. Perhaps your business failed because you ignored customer feedback. Maybe your financial setback happened because you spent without a plan. Maybe your unhealthy habits returned because your environment made bad choices too easy. These lessons become valuable only if you choose to learn from them. History is filled with people who transformed repeated failure into extraordinary success. Consider Thomas Edison, who tested thousands of materials before creating a practical incandescent light bulb. When asked about his many unsuccessful attempts, he famously explained that he had not failed. He had simply discovered thousands of ways that did not work. Each experiment brought him one step closer to the solution. His story reminds us that persistence is often more important than immediate success. Setbacks also build qualities that success alone cannot teach. Patience, humility, resilience, adaptability, problem-solving. These characteristics become your greatest advantages later in life. Think about a tree growing in a windy environment. Strong winds force the roots to grow deeper into the soil. The tree becomes stronger precisely because it faced resistance. A tree protected from every storm often develops weaker roots. Human character develops in the same way. The challenges you overcome today become the strength you depend on tomorrow. Another important lesson is to separate your performance from your potential. A poor presentation doesn't mean you're a poor communicator. A failed investment doesn't mean you'll never build wealth. A rejected job application doesn't mean you'll never find meaningful work. Performance reflects one moment in time. Potential reflects your ability to improve. Confusing the two causes many people to abandon goals they were fully capable of achieving. Recovery also depends on maintaining perspective. Imagine reading a 300-page book. If one page contains a mistake, you wouldn't throw away the entire book. Yet many people do exactly that with their lives. One disappointing day convinces them that everything is ruined. One missed workout becomes abandoning fitness. One difficult conversation becomes avoiding relationships. One unsuccessful project becomes giving up on a dream. Don't allow one page to determine the entire story. Close that page, turn to the next one, keep writing. It's equally important to prepare for setbacks before they happen. Many people create plans that only work under perfect conditions. They'll exercise as long as they have plenty of time. They'll save money as long as unexpected expenses never arise. They'll work on their goals as long as they feel motivated. But life rarely offers perfect conditions. Instead, build flexible systems. If you can't exercise for an hour, walk for 20 minutes. If you can't read an entire chapter, read 2 pages. If your schedule becomes overwhelming, complete one meaningful task instead of none. Progress may slow, but momentum stays alive. Remember, consistency isn't about perfection. It's about refusing to stop. Another powerful way to overcome setbacks is to focus on what you can control. You cannot control the economy. You cannot control other people's opinions. You cannot control unexpected events. But you can control your preparation, your attitude, your effort, your willingness to learn, your decision to begin again. Energy spent worrying about uncontrollable circumstances is energy stolen from meaningful action. Every successful person eventually learns to direct attention toward actions instead of excuses. Gratitude can also become an unexpected source of resilience. During difficult moments, your mind naturally focuses on what's missing or what's gone wrong. Gratitude shifts your attention toward what still remains. Perhaps you still have your health, supportive friends, a chance to begin again, knowledge gained from experience, the opportunity to make a better decision tomorrow. Gratitude doesn't eliminate problems. It prevents problems from becoming your entire perspective. As you continue building momentum, understand that setbacks are not roadblocks. They are checkpoints. Each challenge asks the same question. Will you stop here, or will you continue? Your answer determines your future far more than the setback itself. Years from now, you may look back on what once seemed like your greatest failure and realize it became the turning point that changed everything. The disappointment taught you wisdom. The rejection redirected your path. The obstacle strengthened your character. The delay prepared you for an opportunity you couldn't yet see. Keep moving. Learn the lesson. Adjust the strategy. Take the next step. Momentum doesn't disappear because you fall down. It disappears only when you decide not to stand back up. Every setback carries the seed of a greater comeback. And every time you rise again, you become stronger, wiser, and better prepared for the remarkable life you're creating, one resilient step at a time. Chapter 7. The Momentum Mindset. Thinking like high achievers. Long before success becomes visible in the outside world, it begins as a pattern of thinking on the inside. Every achievement, every breakthrough, and every remarkable life is first shaped by the beliefs a person carries. 2 people can face the same opportunity, the same challenge, or even the same failure, yet produce completely different outcomes. The difference is often not their intelligence, education, or talent. It is their mindset. Your mindset acts like a filter. It determines how you interpret events, how you respond to setbacks, and whether you continue moving forward or allow fear to stop you. If momentum is created by daily action, then your mindset is what determines whether those actions continue long enough to change your life. One of the greatest shifts you can make is moving from an outcome-based mindset to an identity-based mindset. Most people focus on what they want to achieve. I want to become wealthy. I want to lose weight. I want to build a successful business. These goals are important, but high achievers ask a different question. What kind of person must I become to achieve these goals? That question changes everything. Instead of chasing temporary results, they focus on building permanent character. A wealthy person isn't simply someone with money. It's someone who consistently makes wise financial decisions. A healthy person isn't someone who exercises occasionally. It's someone who values movement, nutrition, and recovery as part of everyday life. A successful leader isn't defined by a job title. It's someone who accepts responsibility, communicates clearly, and continues learning. When you begin acting like the person you want to become, success stops feeling like something distant. It becomes something you're practicing every day. Another characteristic of high achievers is their relationship with problems. Most people see problems as evidence that life is unfair or that they're moving in the wrong direction. High achievers see problems differently. They see them as puzzles waiting to be solved. Every challenge becomes an opportunity to think more creatively, learn a new skill, or develop greater resilience. This doesn't mean they enjoy every obstacle. It means they refuse to let obstacles decide their future. When something goes wrong, they don't waste valuable energy asking, "Why is this happening to me?" Instead, they ask, "What can I do next?" That simple question immediately shifts attention from frustration to action. One remarkable example of this mindset is James Dyson. Before creating one of the world's most successful vacuum cleaners, Dyson built more than 5,000 prototypes. Each attempt revealed another flaw, another adjustment, another lesson. Most people would have stopped after a handful of failures, convinced the idea simply wasn't good enough. But Dyson viewed each unsuccessful prototype differently. To him, every failure eliminated one more incorrect solution and moved him one step closer to the right one. Eventually, years of persistence produced a revolutionary product that transformed an entire industry. His success wasn't built on avoiding failure. It was built on learning faster than he gave up. This is the mindset that creates momentum. High achievers also understand the difference between being busy and being productive. Many people fill their days with endless activity but accomplish very little. They answer emails, attend unnecessary meetings, organize their desks, scroll through social media, and mistake movement for progress. Productive people focus on what matters most. Before beginning their day, they identify the few actions that will create the greatest long-term impact. They understand that saying no to distractions allows them to say yes to meaningful progress. Momentum grows when your energy is invested in the right direction. Another important quality is long-term thinking. Our modern world encourages instant gratification. We expect fast deliveries, instant messages, quick entertainment, immediate results. Unfortunately, meaningful success doesn't follow the same timeline. Building a business takes years. Developing expertise requires thousands of hours. Strong relationships grow through trust built over time. Financial freedom comes from years of disciplined decisions. High achievers accept this reality. Instead of demanding immediate rewards, they trust the process. They understand that today's effort may not produce today's reward, but it will shape tomorrow's opportunities. Patience becomes one of their greatest competitive advantages. Another powerful mindset shift is embracing lifelong learning. The moment you believe you've learned enough, your growth begins to slow. The most successful people remain curious, regardless of their achievements. They read books, ask thoughtful questions, seek mentors, study their mistakes, welcome constructive feedback. They understand that every person they meet knows something they do not. This humility keeps them improving year after year. Confidence and humility may seem like opposites, but in reality, they work together. True confidence isn't believing you know everything. It's believing you can learn whatever you need to know. This type of confidence frees you from the fear of looking inexperienced. You stop pretending to have all the answers and start asking better questions. Ironically, this makes you wiser much faster. High achievers also guard their self-talk carefully. Every day your mind carries on an internal conversation. I'm not good enough. This is too difficult. I'll never figure this out. Repeated often enough, these thoughts become beliefs. Beliefs become actions. Actions become habits. Habits become your future. Replace those limiting thoughts with more empowering questions. What can I learn from this? How can I improve by 1% today? What opportunity exists inside this challenge? These questions don't ignore reality. They simply direct your attention toward growth instead of fear. Another defining characteristic of the momentum mindset is personal responsibility. High achievers don't spend their lives blaming circumstances, bad luck, difficult bosses, or unfair situations. They understand that while they cannot control everything that happens, they can always control how they respond. Responsibility is empowering because it returns control to you. The moment you accept responsibility, you stop waiting for someone else to change your life. You begin changing it yourself. Perhaps the greatest lesson of all is that momentum begins with belief, but it is sustained through action. Positive thinking alone will never build a remarkable life. Neither will wishful thinking, endless planning, or dreaming. Thoughts matter because they influence actions. Actions matter because they create results. Results reinforce belief. That cycle repeats until success becomes part of your identity. As you continue your journey, remember that your mindset is not fixed. It is shaped every day by what you read, what you believe, the people you spend time with, and the choices you repeatedly make. Choose thoughts that encourage growth. Choose actions that reinforce those thoughts. Choose persistence when progress feels slow. A remarkable life doesn't belong to those who never face difficulty. It belongs to those who develop a mindset strong enough to keep moving despite difficulty. Think like a high achiever. Act with consistency. Learn from every experience. And never stop becoming the person your future deserves. Because when your mindset and your daily actions begin working together, momentum is no longer temporary, it becomes a way of life. Chapter 8. Managing time, energy, and focus for maximum progress. By now, you've learned that momentum is built through consistent action, strengthened by daily habits, sustained by discipline, and guided by the right mindset. But even with the best intentions, momentum can quickly disappear if your time, energy, and focus are constantly pulled in different directions. Many people don't fail because they lack ability. They fail because they spend their most valuable resources on things that don't truly matter. Time is the only resource that can never be replaced. Money can be earned again. Skills can be learned. Lost opportunities can sometimes return. But once an hour has passed, it is gone forever. Every successful person understands this simple truth. They don't merely manage their schedule, they manage their priorities. Instead of trying to do everything, they concentrate on doing the few things that create the greatest impact. They recognize that being busy is not the same as being productive. Think about the difference between movement and progress. You can spend an entire day answering emails, attending meetings, organizing files, scrolling through your phone, and checking off small tasks from your to-do list. At the end of the day, you may feel exhausted, yet nothing meaningful has moved forward. Progress comes from focusing on the activities that directly support your most important goals. Before starting each day, ask yourself one powerful question. If I accomplish only one thing today, what should it be? That single question forces you to identify what truly matters instead of reacting to everything demanding your attention. Focus has become one of the rarest skills in the modern world. We live in an age where every notification, message, advertisement, and social media update competes for our attention. These distractions may seem harmless, but each interruption carries a hidden cost. Research has shown that after being distracted, it often takes several minutes to regain full concentration. If your attention is interrupted dozens of times throughout the day, you lose hours of productive thinking without even realizing it. This is why creating periods of deep, uninterrupted work is essential. During these periods, eliminate unnecessary distractions. Silence your phone. Close unused browser tabs. Turn off notifications. Let others know that you are unavailable for a specific amount of time. Even 60 to 90 minutes of complete focus can accomplish more than an entire day filled with constant interruptions. Momentum grows when your mind has enough uninterrupted time to solve difficult problems, create meaningful work, and learn new skills. One remarkable example comes from Bill Gates and his famous Think Weeks. Several times each year, Gates would leave his daily responsibilities and isolate himself in a quiet location with books, research papers, and business reports. Without meetings, emails, or constant interruptions, he devoted his time entirely to deep thinking and learning. Many of Microsoft's most important ideas and long-term strategies were developed during these focused retreats. His example reminds us that progress is not always about working more hours. Sometimes it's about creating better conditions for clear thinking. Equally important is learning to manage your energy. Many people believe time management is the key to productivity, but energy management is often even more valuable. Imagine having 3 free hours to work on an important project after a sleepless night. Although the time exists, your mind lacks the energy to perform at its best. On the other hand, one focused hour when you're well-rested and mentally alert can produce extraordinary results. Your physical health directly influences your ability to maintain momentum. Regular exercise improves concentration, memory, and emotional resilience. Nutritious food provides the fuel your brain needs for sustained performance. Quality sleep strengthens creativity, decision-making, and problem-solving abilities. These habits may seem unrelated to success, but they determine how effectively you use every hour of your day. Taking care of your body is not a distraction from productivity, it is one of its foundations. Another important habit is recognizing your peak performance hours. Every person has periods during the day when they naturally feel more alert and creative. For some, this is early morning. For others, it may be late afternoon or evening. Identify when your mind performs at its best. Then reserve those hours for your most important work. Routine tasks such as checking emails or organizing paperwork can wait until your energy naturally decreases. High achievers don't simply organize their calendars, they organize their energy. Learning to say no is another essential skill. Every commitment carries a cost. Each unnecessary meeting, social obligation, or distracting activity consumes time and attention that could have been invested elsewhere. Saying yes to everything often means saying no to your most meaningful goals. This doesn't mean becoming selfish or avoiding responsibilities. It means understanding that every choice has consequences. Protect your schedule with the same care you would protect your savings account, because both determine your future. Multitasking is another common trap. Many people pride themselves on doing several things at once, believing it increases efficiency. In reality, the brain doesn't truly multitask during complex activities. Instead, it rapidly switches between tasks, losing focus each time. This constant switching increases mistakes, reduces creativity, and slows overall progress. Giving your full attention to one meaningful task almost always produces better results than dividing your attention among many. Finally, remember that managing time, energy, and focus is not about squeezing every possible minute out of your day. It is about making intentional choices. You don't need to work endlessly to build a remarkable life. You need to work wisely. Protect the hours that matter most. Guard your attention from unnecessary distractions. Take care of your physical and mental energy. Focus on the few actions that move you closer to your goals and let go of the rest. Momentum thrives where attention is protected. Every hour you invest with purpose becomes another brick in the foundation of your future. Over weeks, months, and years, these focused efforts compound into skills, opportunities, relationships, and achievements that once seemed out of reach. Remember, your future is shaped not by how busy you are, but by where you choose to place your time, your energy, and your focus each day. When those three resources work together, progress becomes inevitable, and a remarkable life is no longer a distant dream. It becomes your daily reality. Chapter 9. The compound effect of daily choices. Every day, from the moment you wake up until the moment you go to sleep, you make hundreds of decisions. Some are obvious, while others happen almost automatically. You choose what to eat, how to spend your time, what to read, whether to exercise, how to respond to challenges, where to spend your money, and who you surround yourself with. Individually, these choices often seem insignificant, but together they quietly shape the direction of your life. The greatest misconception about success is that it arrives through one life-changing decision. People often imagine that wealth comes from one brilliant investment, health comes from one intense workout, or happiness comes from one lucky opportunity. In reality, remarkable lives are built through countless ordinary choices, repeated consistently over time. This is the compound effect. Compounding is one of the most powerful principles in the world because small actions multiply. Their impact isn't always visible in the beginning, but as time passes, the results become impossible to ignore. Just as a tiny snowball grows larger as it rolls downhill, your daily choices gather momentum until they create outcomes far greater than the effort that started them. Think about two friends who begin their careers at the same time and earn similar salaries. One develops the habit of investing just $5 a day into a diversified investment portfolio. The other spends that same amount each day on unnecessary purchases, a specialty coffee, impulse snacks, or items that bring only temporary satisfaction. $5 doesn't seem like much. Neither person notices a meaningful difference after a week or even after a few months, but years pass. The first person's investments continue growing through compound returns. Every contribution earns returns, and those returns begin earning returns of their own. What started as a tiny daily habit gradually becomes a significant source of wealth. Meanwhile, the second person's money has quietly disappeared. There is little to show for years of small purchases except fleeting memories. The difference wasn't created by one extraordinary financial decision. It was created by one ordinary decision repeated every single day. The same principle applies to health. Eating one healthy meal won't transform your body. Skipping one workout won't ruin it. But choosing nutritious food consistently, staying active, and getting enough sleep gradually strengthen your body and mind. Likewise, regularly choosing unhealthy habits slowly weakens your health, often without immediate warning signs. This is what makes compounding both powerful and dangerous. Positive habits compound. Negative habits compound too. 1 hour of daily learning may not seem impressive today, but after several years, it can completely transform your career. Reading 10 pages every day may appear insignificant, yet it allows you to finish dozens of books over time, exposing you to ideas that reshape the way you think and make decisions. Relationships follow the same pattern. Strong friendships and healthy families are rarely built through grand gestures. They grow through small acts of kindness, honest conversations, consistent support, and showing up when it matters most. A simple phone call, a thoughtful message, or a few minutes of genuine attention may seem minor today, but these moments accumulate into trust that lasts for years. Unfortunately, the opposite is also true. Ignoring loved ones, breaking promises, failing to listen, allowing misunderstandings to remain unresolved. These small actions slowly weaken relationships until the damage becomes visible. Most people overestimate the importance of one big decision and underestimate the influence of hundreds of small ones. That's why the choices you make when no one is watching matter so much. Every choice becomes a vote for the future you're creating. When you choose to read instead of endlessly scrolling through social media, you're investing in future knowledge. When you save money instead of spending impulsively, you're investing in future freedom. When you exercise instead of remaining inactive, you're investing in future health. When you practice a valuable skill instead of wasting another evening, you're investing in future opportunities. None of these choices feel life-changing in the moment. Their true power lies in repetition. Another important lesson is that daily choices shape your identity. Every action sends a message to your subconscious mind about who you are. Each time you keep a promise to yourself, you reinforce the belief that you are disciplined. Each time you make a thoughtful financial decision, you strengthen the identity of someone who manages money wisely. Each time you choose learning over comfort, you become someone who values growth. Over time, your identity becomes stronger than your goals. You no longer make good choices because you're forcing yourself. You make them because they reflect the person you've become. This is why the compound effect becomes easier over time. Success eventually stops requiring constant effort because your habits and identity begin working together. Of course, there will be days when making the right choice feels difficult. You'll be tempted to skip your workout, delay an important project, spend money impulsively, choose comfort over progress. In those moments, remember that every decision is connected to your future. Ask yourself a simple question. Will this choice move me closer to the life I want or farther away from it? That single question creates awareness, and awareness creates better decisions. You don't have to make perfect choices every day. No one does. The goal is simply to make more good decisions than bad ones. If you consistently choose growth over comfort, learning over distraction, discipline over impulse, and long-term rewards over short-term pleasure, the compound effect will quietly begin working in your favor. One day, people may look at your success and assume it happened suddenly. They'll notice your confidence, your financial stability, your knowledge, your health, or your accomplishments. What they won't see are the thousands of invisible choices that built those results. They won't see the evenings you spent learning while others wasted time. They won't see the small amounts you consistently invested. They won't see the habits you repeated when no one was watching. Remarkable lives are not created by extraordinary moments. They are created by ordinary choices repeated with extraordinary consistency. So choose wisely today, because today's choices become tomorrow's habits. Tomorrow's habits become next year's results. And those results eventually become the remarkable life you've been building all along, one small decision at a time. Chapter 10. Becoming the person success naturally follows. Many people spend their lives chasing success. They chase promotions, higher incomes, recognition, better opportunities, and bigger achievements. They believe that once they reach a certain destination, happiness, confidence, and fulfillment will finally arrive. Yet even after reaching those milestones, many still feel as though something is missing. Why? Because lasting success is not something you chase. It is something you attract by becoming the kind of person who naturally creates it. This is one of the most important shifts you can make in your life. Instead of asking, "How can I become successful?" begin asking, "Who must I become for success to become inevitable?" The first question focuses on external rewards. The second focuses on internal transformation. And internal transformation is what creates lasting external results. Think of success as a shadow. If you spend your entire life chasing your shadow, you'll never catch it. But if you walk toward the light, your shadow naturally follows. In the same way, when you focus on developing your character, your knowledge, your discipline, and your habits, success begins to follow you. This is why identity matters more than goals. Goals are temporary. Once you achieve them, they disappear. Identity remains. Suppose your goal is to write a book. Finishing the manuscript is an exciting achievement, but eventually the project ends. However, if you become the kind of person who writes consistently, learns continuously, and enjoys the creative process, writing is no longer something you do, it becomes part of who you are. The same principle applies to every area of life. Don't aim simply to save money. Become someone who manages money wisely. Don't aim only to lose weight. Become someone who values health every day. Don't focus solely on getting a promotion. Become someone whose skills, attitude, and work ethic make promotion a natural outcome. When your identity changes, your actions begin to align with it automatically. One powerful way to build a new identity is to keep small promises to yourself. Every promise you keep becomes evidence that you are reliable. When you say you'll wake up early, and you do, your confidence grows. When you commit to reading every day and follow through, your self-respect increases. When you exercise despite feeling tired, you prove that your decisions are stronger than your emotions. Confidence isn't built by repeating positive affirmations in front of a mirror. It is built by collecting evidence. Every disciplined action becomes another piece of evidence that supports the identity you're creating. This is why daily habits are so important. Each action is like casting a vote. Every workout is a vote for becoming a healthy person. Every chapter you read is a vote for becoming knowledgeable. Every dollar you save is a vote for becoming financially responsible. Every act of kindness is a vote for becoming a compassionate human being. No single vote determines the outcome, but over time, the majority always wins. Eventually, the identity you've repeatedly voted for becomes your reality. Another important lesson is that successful people focus on their standards rather than their circumstances. Circumstances constantly change. Some days are easy, others are filled with unexpected challenges. If your behavior depends entirely on circumstances, your progress will always be inconsistent. Standards create stability. Imagine two people facing the same difficult week. One says, "I'll skip my workout because I'm too busy." The other says, "I may not have time for an hour, but I can still exercise for 20 minutes. Both experience the same challenge. Only one protects their identity. High achievers understand that lowering the size of the action is acceptable. Abandoning the habit is not. Your standards become the foundation upon which your future is built. Character is another quality that naturally attracts success. Skills may open doors. Talent may create opportunities. But character determines whether those opportunities last. People trust those who are honest. They respect those who keep their word. They admire those who remain humble while continuing to improve. In business, relationships, and leadership, character often becomes your greatest competitive advantage. Imagine hiring two employees with equal qualifications. One consistently arrives on time, takes responsibility for mistakes, communicates respectfully, and always delivers quality work. The other is talented but unreliable, frequently makes excuses, and avoids accountability. Over time, who is more likely to earn promotions and greater responsibility? Almost always, the person with stronger character. People invest in people they can trust. Success also follows those who remain teachable. One of the greatest dangers after achieving a little success is believing you've learned enough. The moment growth stops, momentum begins slowing. The world's most accomplished individuals continue learning throughout their lives. They read, study, ask questions, seek feedback, welcome new perspectives. They understand that every person they meet knows something they do not. Curiosity keeps them growing long after others become comfortable. Humility makes continuous improvement possible. It's equally important to surround yourself with people who reflect the person you're trying to become. Human beings naturally adopt the attitudes, habits, and expectations of those they spend the most time with. If your environment celebrates excuses, you'll begin making excuses. If it values discipline, learning, responsibility, and growth, those qualities gradually become part of your own identity. Choose relationships that challenge you to become better rather than comfortable. One of the most empowering truths is that you don't have to wait until you feel like a successful person before acting like one. Act first. Feel later. If you want to become a writer, write today. If you want to become financially responsible, make wise financial decisions today. If you want to become healthy, choose healthy habits today. Action creates identity. Identity strengthens action. That cycle continues until success becomes a natural consequence instead of a distant dream. As you reach this stage of your journey, remember that your greatest investment is not in your bank account, your career, or even your possessions. It is in the person you are becoming. Everything else can be lost and rebuilt. Skills can create new opportunities. Character earns lasting trust. Discipline creates consistency. Knowledge opens new doors. Resilience carries you through difficult seasons. These qualities become assets that no economic downturn, failure, or unexpected challenge can permanently take away. Success naturally follows people who continue improving long after others stop. So don't spend your life chasing success. Spend your life becoming someone worthy of it. Keep learning, keep growing, keep honoring your commitments, keep becoming 1% better every single day. Because when you transform the person in the mirror, the life around you begins to transform as well. And one day, without realizing exactly when it happened, you'll discover that success is no longer something you're pursuing. It has quietly begun pursuing you. Chapter 11. Creating momentum in every area of life. Momentum is often associated with careers, businesses, or personal goals, but its true power reaches much further. It is not something you switch on for one part of your life while ignoring the rest. Real momentum creates a ripple effect. When you consistently improve in one area, that progress naturally influences the others. Greater discipline at work strengthens your financial habits. Better health increases your productivity. Stronger relationships improve your emotional well-being. Lifelong learning opens doors to new opportunities. A remarkable life is not built by succeeding in just one area. It is built by creating balanced momentum across all the areas that matter most. Many people make the mistake of focusing all their energy on a single goal while neglecting everything else. Someone may build a successful career but sacrifice their health in the process. Another may accumulate wealth but lose meaningful relationships. Others become physically fit while ignoring their financial future or personal growth. These achievements may look impressive from the outside, but they often leave people feeling incomplete. True success is not about excelling in one category while failing in the others. It is about creating harmony among the different parts of your life. Let's begin with your career. Whether you're an employee, entrepreneur, student, or freelancer, momentum at work begins with continuous improvement. Instead of asking how to work harder, ask how to become more valuable. learn new skills, improve your communication, solve problems before someone asks you to, be the person who delivers quality work consistently. Small daily improvements in knowledge and performance eventually separate you from the average. Promotions, business opportunities, and professional recognition often follow those who make themselves indispensable through steady growth rather than occasional brilliance. Financial momentum follows a similar principle. Many people dream of becoming wealthy, yet few develop the habits that create lasting financial security. Wealth is rarely built through one lucky investment or a sudden increase in income. It grows through consistent decisions made over many years. Spend less than you earn, save before you spend, invest regularly. Continue learning about personal finance. Avoid unnecessary debt whenever possible. These habits may not produce dramatic results next month, but over time they create stability, freedom, and opportunities that impulsive spending never can. Health is another area where momentum creates extraordinary rewards. Every healthy meal, every workout, every good night's sleep, and every walk you take is an investment in your future. You don't have to become an elite athlete to enjoy the benefits of good health. The goal is not perfection, but consistency. Your body responds to the habits you repeat most often. Small choices made every day determine your energy levels, your mental clarity, your resilience, and your ability to pursue your dreams. Without good health, even the greatest opportunities become difficult to enjoy. Relationships also depend on momentum. Strong families, loyal friendships, and lasting partnerships are not built through occasional grand gestures. They grow through consistent acts of care and attention, listening without distraction, keeping your promises, expressing appreciation, offering support during difficult times, making time for meaningful conversations. These simple actions strengthen trust little by little. Just as neglected habits weaken your health, neglected relationships gradually lose their connection. The people who matter most should never receive only the time you have left over after everything else is finished. Personal growth deserves the same level of commitment. The world changes constantly, and those who stop learning eventually stop growing. Read books that challenge your thinking. Learn skills that prepare you for the future. Listen to people with different perspectives. Seek mentors who have already achieved what you hope to accomplish. Every piece of knowledge you gain becomes another tool for solving problems and creating opportunities. Education doesn't end when school ends. It becomes a lifelong investment that continues paying dividends for decades. One of the greatest benefits of creating momentum across multiple areas is that success begins reinforcing itself. Imagine someone who starts exercising regularly. Their energy improves. Because they feel more energetic, they become more productive at work. Greater productivity leads to better career opportunities. Increased income allows them to invest in their future. Reduced financial stress improves their relationships. Better relationships increase happiness, making it easier to maintain healthy habits. One positive decision creates another, and soon momentum begins spreading throughout every part of life. Of course, there will be seasons when one area demands more attention than another. Starting a business may require extra time. Caring for a family member may temporarily shift your priorities. Preparing for an important examination may require additional focus. Balance does not mean giving equal attention to every area every single day. It means ensuring that no important area is neglected for so long that it begins to collapse. Life is dynamic, and your priorities will change, but your commitment to steady progress should remain constant. It is also important to measure your life by progress rather than perfection. At the end of each week, ask yourself simple questions. Did I improve my health this week? Did I strengthen an important relationship? Did I learn something valuable? Did I make wise financial decisions? Did I move closer to my career goals? These questions help you stay aware of the bigger picture. They remind you that a remarkable life is built through many small victories rather than one extraordinary achievement. Remember that success is not a destination where everything suddenly becomes perfect. It is an ongoing process of becoming a little wiser, a little stronger, and a little kinder every day. There will always be new goals to pursue and new lessons to learn. That is not something to fear. It is one of life's greatest gifts. Growth gives life meaning. Progress creates purpose. As this audiobook has shown from the very beginning, momentum starts with a single step. But once that step is repeated consistently, it begins transforming every corner of your life. The habits you build, the mindset you develop, the choices you make, and the relationships you nurture all become connected. Together, they create a life of balance, purpose, and fulfillment. Never underestimate the power of small, consistent improvements across multiple areas of your life. You don't need to change everything today. You simply need to keep moving forward. Improve your career, one skill at a time. Strengthen your finances, one wise decision at a time. Build your health, one healthy habit at a time. Deepen your relationships, one meaningful conversation at a time. Expand your mind one lesson at a time. Do this consistently, and you'll discover something remarkable. Momentum no longer exists in isolated moments. It becomes the rhythm of your life, carrying you steadily toward the person you've always had the potential to become. Chapter 12. Living a Remarkable Life Through Lifelong Progress. As we reach the final chapter of this journey, it's important to remember that this is not the end. In many ways, it is only the beginning. A remarkable life is never built through a single decision, one extraordinary achievement, or one perfect year. It is built through a lifelong commitment to progress. The greatest gift you can give yourself is not the promise of perfection, but the promise that you will never stop growing. Every lesson you've learned in this audiobook points toward one simple truth. The person you become is determined by what you choose to do consistently, day after day, year after year. Throughout this journey, we've explored the power of momentum. You've seen how small steps create lasting change, how habits shape your future, how consistency outperforms motivation, how setbacks become opportunities for growth, and how your daily choices quietly compound into extraordinary results. None of these principles require exceptional talent or extraordinary luck. They require only one thing: your willingness to keep moving forward. Many people spend their lives waiting for a finish line that doesn't exist. They believe they'll finally be happy when they get the promotion, earn a certain amount of money, buy their dream home, or achieve a long-awaited goal. While goals are valuable because they give us direction, they were never meant to become the source of our happiness. The truth is that every goal you achieve eventually becomes your new starting point. After one mountain is climbed, another appears. After one dream is fulfilled, another begins to take shape. This is not a problem. It is the beauty of personal growth. Life remains meaningful because there is always another lesson to learn, another skill to develop, another person to help, and another version of yourself waiting to emerge. One of the greatest dangers after experiencing success is becoming comfortable. Comfort is pleasant, but it can quietly become the enemy of continued growth. The moment you believe there is nothing left to learn, your momentum begins slowing. Progress stops not because you lack ability, but because curiosity disappears. Stay curious. Read books that challenge your thinking. Learn skills outside your profession. Listen to people with different experiences. Ask better questions. Welcome constructive criticism. Curiosity keeps your mind alive long after formal education ends. Another important lesson is to celebrate progress without becoming satisfied by it. Take time to appreciate how far you've come. Reflect on the habits you've built, the challenges you've overcome, and the person you've become. Gratitude strengthens your confidence because it reminds you that your efforts have already produced meaningful change. But after celebrating, continue moving. The purpose of looking back is not to remain there. It is to gain the confidence needed to move forward. As you continue your journey, remember the principle that has echoed throughout this audiobook. Become 1% better every single day. This idea may sound simple, but its impact is extraordinary. Improving by just 1% doesn't require dramatic sacrifices. It asks only that you make one slightly better decision today than you made yesterday. Read one more page, walk one more block, save one more dollar, learn one more lesson, offer one more act of kindness, keep one more promise to yourself. These actions may seem too small to matter. Yet history repeatedly shows that greatness is rarely built through giant leaps. It is built through small improvements repeated with extraordinary consistency. You will also encounter seasons when progress feels slow. There will be times when your efforts seem invisible. Weeks may pass without noticeable results. Months may go by without recognition. During those moments, remember the lesson of compounding. The roots of a tree grow silently before its branches reach toward the sky. The foundation of a building is completed before the structure becomes visible. Likewise, much of your personal growth happens beneath the surface before the world ever notices it. Trust the process. Trust your habits. Trust your consistency. One day you'll look back and realize that the smallest actions produced the greatest transformation. Never forget that momentum works in both directions. Every day you either strengthen your future or weaken it. Every decision either reinforces the person you want to become or the person you're trying to leave behind. Fortunately, you don't have to make perfect decisions every day. You simply need to make more choices that move you forward than choices that hold you back. Life will continue presenting challenges. Unexpected setbacks will appear. Plans will change, people will disappoint you, opportunities will come and go. But if you've built the habits, mindset and resilience discussed throughout this audiobook, no obstacle will have the power to stop you permanently. You may slow down from time to time, but you will always know how to begin again. Perhaps the most remarkable realization is this: success is not measured only by wealth, status or recognition. A remarkable life is measured by the person you become while pursuing your goals. It is reflected in your character, your integrity, your relationships, your willingness to learn, and your ability to inspire others through your actions. The world doesn't simply need more successful people. It needs more disciplined people, more compassionate people, more honest people, more resilient people, more lifelong learners. Be one of them. As you close this audiobook, don't think of these chapters as information to remember. Think of them as principles to live. Knowledge has little value until it becomes action. Your future will not be shaped by what you heard today. It will be shaped by what you choose to do tomorrow morning, next week, next month, and next year. So begin where you are. Use what you have. Take the next small step, then take another. Keep building momentum when progress feels exciting. Keep building momentum when progress feels slow. Keep building momentum even when no one is watching. Because remarkable lives are not created in a single moment. They are created through thousands of ordinary days lived with extraordinary intention. Your journey is still unfolding. Your best chapter has not been written yet. And if you continue becoming 1% better every single day, there is no limit to the remarkable life you can create. The momentum is now yours. Protect it, strengthen it, and let it carry you toward a future that is greater than you ever imagined. Congratulations on completing the momentum shift. How daily progress creates a remarkable life. More importantly, congratulations on making the decision to invest in yourself. Finishing this audiobook is not the achievement that will change your life. What changes your life is what you choose to do after this moment. Remember, remarkable lives are never created overnight. They are built through ordinary days, filled with intentional choices. Every healthy habit you repeat, every skill you develop, every promise you keep to yourself, and every small step you take moves you closer to the person you're meant to become. There will be days when progress feels effortless, and there will be days when every step feels difficult. Keep moving anyway. Don't wait for perfect conditions. Don't wait for endless motivation. Trust the process you've learned throughout this journey and commit to becoming 1% better every single day. Months from now, you may not remember every sentence from this audiobook, but if you remember one lesson, let it be this. Consistency is more powerful than intensity, and small actions, repeated with purpose, create extraordinary results. Your future is not determined by your past. It is shaped by the decisions you make today and the habits you continue tomorrow. Every sunrise gives you another opportunity to improve, to learn, to serve, and to grow. Thank you for allowing this audiobook to be part of your journey. Keep your momentum alive. Protect it through discipline, strengthen it through daily action, and let it guide every area of your life. Your remarkable life doesn't begin someday. It begins today. Now take the next step, and then the one after that.